As on 3FM 92.7. Got two gentlemen in the studio. Assistant Chief Fire Officer, Grade 2, Rashid Nisau, the Greater Accra Regional Commander for the Ghana National Fire Service. Also, Principal Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist Daniel Asari, Regional Manager, National Ambulance Service in the Greater Accra Region. We'll be joined later by Samuel Abuajis, Deputy Director General, Protocol and Relief at the National Disaster Management Organization. And our conversation is set as simple: emergency services in crisis. The frontliners, are they properly resourced? Are they taken care of? Do they have what they need to save you if you found yourself ever in some form of difficulty? If you found yourself in difficulty, what do you have to do? What is your responsibility and role to ensure that, yes, you have a right, but you also have a corresponding responsibility? We'll get into that conversation right about it. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine,
sir.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you too.
And how's work at the fire service going?
Oh,
Greater Accra, what does it look like?
Greater Accra, there's a lot of stress as compared to where I'm coming from.
Okay.
There's a lot of stress. You need to always be awake to ensure that others can sleep and sleep soundly.
Right.
Because if you sleep, it means there's trouble, you know. So to allow people to sleep and sleep soundly, you must be awake.
That's right.
To ensure you have to sacrifice your sleep. So that is the plims of Greater Accra for you.
I see.
Yes.
Zasari, what about you? How's it looking like? Ambulance service, Greater Accra, what does it look like?
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning to your cherished listeners. What I want to say is in ambulance service Greater Accra, we work 24/7 to save more lives as possible. So we are always busy receiving calls from the general public and responding to road traffic incident.
Right.
And also when there are any mass casualty incident, we respond with our personnel. So we work 24/7. Our dispatch center is always buzzing with a lot of calls from the general public in case of maternal cases, domestic cases. So we are working very hard.
The rains are setting in, Mr. Nisau.
Yes.
And the concerns that people have now, flooding, people may be blocked in their homes, they cannot go anywhere, gutters are choked here and there. I mean, all the issues that come together, fire, and rain, they're more like Siamese twins these days.
Yes.
What's the plan? The outlook? The rains are coming, but what's the plan?
Okay, so this morning when I was leaving the house, nobody expected that we have this heavy rains this morning.
So, in the morning.
As soon as the rains started, it went beyond an hour. I quickly called my staff officer and said, look here, put an information on our platform.
Right.
We, my district and municipal metropolitan fire commanders, we have a platform.
Right.
So what quickly I did this morning, that they should put a message there and ensure, because I know now that there are rains, rescue issues will have to start.
That's right.
Then everybody should, those district commanders should ensure that they lead the rescue teams wherever they are called. So they should be on their red alert this morning.
Right.
So that is within the interim. So this morning I have my overall, my helmet is in my car.
I see.
My Wellington boots are there. Whatever I need to go out, as soon as I'm
ready for the battlefield,
I have to just go into my overall, and because I know this is what is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So in the short term, that is for the short term.
Right.
Yeah, but in the long term, I think that there should be a collaborative efforts among the services,
right?
I.e. NADMO, I.e. police, I.e. ambulance, so that we can quickly establish a joint operations center,
right,
to ensure that if there is any problem. You see, the one thing about floods is that it doesn't involve one agency.
That's correct.
It doesn't involve one agency.
That's correct.
So that is why I think, in my opinion, the smartest thing we can do right now
is a joint command center of a sort.
Right now, so that ambulance will have their men there, fire will have their men there, the police, the military, so that in case there is any emergency, deployment is easier. So mean that is my mind anyway.
Right.
Just in the interim,
right,
yes, to solve these rains.
Mr. Asari, what do you think of this idea? this one joint command center that can rally everybody at the same time, to bring resources. Not that fire service gets there and now calls the Navy to say, Charlie, bring your boats, let's see what we can do with it.
Okay,
what do you think?
What I would say, when it comes to emergencies such as flood, it's a multi-sectorial responsibility,
right,
with the agencies like the fire, as you rightly mentioned. So it's NADMO that is the coordinating agencies when it comes to disasters in Ghana. So from our end, we always have that kind of rapport with NADMO.
Right.
We even have sometimes receive calls from the NADMO command center when it comes to emergencies. So I think it's something that we need to work together to ensure joint interoperability so that we'll be able to save more Ghanaians as possible when it comes to flood disaster. As you rightly said in your earlier submission, the twin disaster.
That's right.
Where there was a flood and also a gas explosion that we lost a lot of lives that day. So I think we need to work very hard and intensify our coordination effort in terms of our simulation exercise and other joint operation exercise, so that it will be ready, prepared in terms of any emergencies that will happen in the near future. So we need to strengthen our collaboration efforts.
Now, let's look at the resources, Chief Nisao.
Yes.
Are we properly resourced? You say you want to stay awake, or you have to stay awake so people can sleep soundly.
That's what I said.
But if you are staying awake and what you have to work with is not there, then you are staying awake in vain for the mosquitoes to feast on you. Do you have what it takes in terms of resources as we speak to help people when they find themselves in a fix?
Okay, so this is a very big
Sunrise
question.
on 3FM,
see,
the best.
You are reminding me of my small economics. You see, when we are talking about scarcity, it's not about unavailability of resources.
Right.
It's in relation to what? Demand.
That's right.
Can I repeat myself?
That's correct.
When we are talking about scarcity, it's not about unavailability.
That's right.
We are looking at in relation to what? Demand. Why do I say these things? We have fire engines around. Greater Accra region alone, I can boast of about 20, 30, and about 80% are working. We have a TL, hydraulic platforms, we have everything. But the truth is that because of evolution, expansion, the time is expanding, new things are coming, a lot of new challenges are coming. Definitely
on 3FM,
we need an
the
augmentation.
best in the morning.
And I think it's public knowledge that I have been watching you when I was in Kumasi.
Right.
You have been drumming this thing.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I will not sit here and claim all is rosy. No. At least what is interesting. And we must draw inspiration, and there's hope is that at least for now, if there are problems, we can handle. But I believe that much should be done to enhance these logistics, because there are certain areas that we need to look at that is giving us problems when we go to operations. I can give you a classical example. For example, when you talk about accessibility to places for firefighting, you see, these days the planning, I'm sorry, in some areas have failed. So the access is not there. And if you want to create access, somebody's structure have to give way. So then the question that we'll be asking is, where will the person sleep?
You have to break the buildings.
Yeah, that is if you want access. There are some places in Greater Accra here that if you want to go there and fight fire, you might either have parked about 30 or about 40 meters
far away from the fire.
The disadvantages they are numerous. Because one, if I park far away, what it means is that I have to lay more lengths of hoses to get access to the place. Now remember, each length of hose is about 100 feet. So if I'm laying about 3 or 4, the amount of water, if I'm coming along with 13,500 liters of water, 1/3 of that water will be trapped in the hose, and we'll only have to utilize about maybe say a small fraction to get to the fire. I don't know whether you are getting the sign.
I get it now.
So then
So it means that if you are closer to the fire,
the closer
you
you
would
are
not have
to
to
the fire,
lay more holes.
you wouldn't have to lay more
So
holes.
you get more pressure, you get more water.
And even you have mentioned a very significant thing, the pump pressure. The pump pressure is not infinite. It has a limit that it can go.
Okay.
So let's say that we have about 200, the horsepower of the pump is about 200.
Right.
We engage, if it's about one hose, I can use 110.
Okay.
If I add another
which is
hose,
quite strong.
yes, if I add another hose, I might have added about 10 bars.
Okay.
Then another hose about 10 bars. Another hose. So if I connect about 6 or 7 hoses, a time will come that if you increase pressure, the pressure will not increase, because that is how far the machine can go.
Right. Right.
So the closer you are
Sunrise
to
on
the fire,
3FM,
the better
the
you
best
are
in
in
the
combating.
morning.
So then if accessibility becomes a challenge, in the developed world now, drones are used for firefighting.
That's right.
Aircrafts are used for firefighting. So that is why I said that when we are talking about scarcity, it's not unavailability of resources. It's in relation to what?
The demand.
The demand.
In
Look
terms
at
of
the challenge that we are confronted with.
Right.
So you get to like the June
3 disaster.
3 disaster. This you get there and attacking the fire on the ground wouldn't work. You can go up and start to rain the foam through the drones and aircrafts to flooding the whole place.
Right.
But what happened that day was fuel spillage.
That's right.
That fuel was lying, and you know the density of water and density
Sunrise
of what?
on 3
Petrol.
FM, the best in the
Water is
morning.
denser
than
than.
petrol.
So if you mix it automatically, the fuel will come up.
Right.
And when it comes out, to continue to burn. And science teaches us the best method to extinguish such fires is to foam it. Is to use chemical foam. We have different type of foams. I don't want to go there.
Right.
But what you need to do is to foam it, because when you put the foam, discharge the foam on top of the surface of the water, it prevents oxygen from feeding onto the fire, and the elements that are left will be fuel, and then heat, and then the fire will go off. Of course, the triangle of combustion will be broken.
Right.
So that is the science aspect of it. But then if you get there and accessibility is not there, and you are not able to go air, what do you do? That is where the challenges are.
So now the question is, when these permits are being granted, the fire service is on the board, EPA is on the board,
Yes.
the local assembly is on the board, everybody is represented there. How then is the wrong thing being done in terms of the planning when everybody is there at the same table?
Yes. What will interest you is it's not number one, it's not everything that
Sunrise on
comes
3 FM, the best in the
Those
morning.
who really want to do the wrong thing and they know they are doing the wrong thing, you will never know.
They go ahead and do it anyway.
So before you realize, you can bear with me, Hughes. If they really want to look at people who have gone for permits to go to EPA, fire, whatever, before they build, you'll be honest with me. Only a few people. So this is how come a lot of structures are at an unauthorized places. That is it.
Mr. Sorry, let me come to you and ask you the same question about the resources.
Okay.
We know that the previous government used to trumpet that, we gave you 307 ambulances to add on to the fleet that you have. The 307 ambulances, are they all fit for purpose as we speak?
Okay, thank you. When it comes to resources, with regards to an emergency, it's something very critical, because the work that we do, we need resources very well so that we'll be able to save more life as possible. Yeah. So what I will say is, before I even come to your question, looking at let's say the population of Ghana, over 30 million people, and the number of ambulances that we have, because per the World Health Organization, we need 50,000 people to one ambulance per the World Health Organization standard. Let me even use Accra as an example. Greater Accra, we have a fleet of about 40 ambulances. 40 ambulances, serving a population of 5.2 million.
Hey.
So if we need...
Say that again.
I said we have
there are 40 ambulances.
40 ambulances for Greater Accra.
Serving how many people?
With a population of 5.2 million.
Hey.
The Ghana Statistical Service record.
But that is not what the WHO says.
Yeah, so it means there's a total deficit when it comes to emergency services. So we even need about 100 ambulances if we want to serve per the standard. Yeah, but notwithstanding that, we are able to use the available resources that we have to save more life as possible. So what I would say is when it comes to the National Ambulance Service, definitely, it's a vehicle that have a lifespan of about 5 years. So definitely, as we are running, there will be road traffic incident, there will be wear and tear. Some of them will be at the mechanical shop where our mechanics will be working on it. So definitely, from 2022 this time, some of the ambulances are worn out. You understand? So definitely, as a service, we will need route tolling to augment the fleet that we have. Right. So we are making a passionate appeal that the service will have additional ambulances to augment whatever we are having recently. So
embedded in this appeal for retooling is also the conversation about maintenance.
Definitely.
In the past, we have seen your ambulance were carrying banchi and body. We've seen it carrying cement at Kaswa.
Definitely.
That was not the purpose for which those ambulances were acquired.
Definitely.
So how do you manage the resource? Because these are expensive stuff that we buy for you.
Yeah, as you rightly said, when it comes to the service took pragmatic steps with certain disciplinary actions against staff who involve themselves in those acts, because the ambulances are supposed to be used to carry critically ill and the injured, not to carry foodstuffs and other issues. So I think that when the incident happened, the public relations department of ourselves issued a communique to that effect. So as I said, we have learned from those things that happen, and we have put measures in place that now there's a clear directive that no ambulance is supposed to use to carry such commodities. So when it happens, disciplinary actions will definitely be taken against such.
Let me ask you and be very candid with me.
Yeah.
Your ambulances, are they insured? Because while you are thinking about our safety, you're also thinking about your safety.
The
are they insured?
The ambulances are insured.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. The ambulances are insured.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They are government vehicle ambulance. So what I just want to also add is, as a service, in terms of rapid vehicles,
response,
in terms of rapid response, we definitely need some pickups.
Okay.
So because when and there's a mass casualty incident where we involve a lot of people, when the ambulances come, sometimes we need rapid response vehicles to also carry those people who are walking wounded, those who are not severely injured. Because when there's an incident, we have something we call triaging, where we sort out according to priorities of the casualties. Those who have severe injuries, we tag them red. Those who are moderately injured, yellow, and those who can even walk have some small abrasions. Those ones can be carried with the rapid response vehicles like the pickups. Then those who are critical injured will be put in the ambulance to be managed. So what I would say is we need those kind of vehicles. And even in other jurisdictions where we have what we call the air ambulance, that when there's an incident of that magnitude where we cannot access with the vehicles, we can use the heli to be able to airlift some of the casualties. For example, when the Apieti incident happened in Takrady, we have to get services from the Ghana Armed Forces so that we airlift some of the casualties from Apieti to Air Force Base and sent to 37 Military Hospital. So we need more of this in future, and also retooling of the ambulance. I can also say that we also need support from the private sector.
Okay.
Yeah, because the demand for ambulances is very high. So the private
How do you feel when you drive through town, you see more V8s than ambulances? How do you feel?
What I would say is what I want to say is as a service we need a lot of emergency vehicles. Because emergency.
How do you feel? As somebody who is interested in the health and well-being of people, the safety, and you drive through town, you see that you've seen one ambulance, but there are many more V8s and luxury vehicles that are. How do you feel?
What I want to say is, definitely as a government agency, definitely we have different sectors of the economy that maybe the government have priorities towards. So we are under Ministry of Work. It's a very big agency, and definitely we'll have challenges with inadequate budgets. So what I will appeal is we need more budgetary support so that we'll be able to get more ambulances to.
So when you see the V8s, you think that we need more budgetary support?
Yeah, when I see the V8, it means we also need more ambulances at that level, because the government have priorities in terms of they too have to make sure the government runs. So it depends on they are able to share the resources to other sectors. But we, from our side, we need more ambulances in that regard. That's what I would say.
Chief, let me ask you, your vehicles, your tenders.
Fire tenders.
Yes. There are some who have become grandmothers.
As for fire tenders,
because he says the lifespan of theirs is 5 years, and at this time they need retooling.
Yes.
What's the lifespan of a regular fire tender?
A regular fire tender is equally between 5 years to
Sunrise
maximum
on
10
3
years.
FM, the best in the morning.
And there are some that are more than 10 years.
Oh, yes. The last time we had a consignment, the peer consignment came during the Professor Mills's time.
Yeah?
Yes. That was when we had the last consignment. From that time up to now, we've not had any consignment.
But the June 3 disaster report said that you should be given helicopters. I remember Prince Billy Anaglati.
Yes,
that's his name.
Yes. He's now in the Volta region. This place. It's not. Yeah, he's in the Oti. He's in Oti region now.
Yes, I remember he was the spokesperson of the June fire service.
Yes.
I met him. I was at TV Africa at the time on the June 3 disaster. We had subsequent conversations.
Yes.
There was a report that was written that said the fire service should be giving helicopters to fight fires.
Yes.
Later, Dr. Papa Kwisindum's place will also catch fire. The Gold Coast securities area caught fire, and he spoke about it again. Do you have helicopters?
No, we don't have helicopters.
10 years on.
Yeah, fire service doesn't have helicopters. That's why I said that issues of accessibility becomes a problem.
Sunrise
so then
on
it
3
means the
FM,
tender will not
best
be
in the
able
morning.
to be effective. Then
Right.
then you have to go in the air by using other drones or aircraft. And to the best of my knowledge, Ghana National Fire Service has no helicopter.
I see.
We don't have them.
Let's talk about some of the things that you need now as a fire service to be able to serve the people well, optimally.
Yes, so number one, the most important resource in every organization are the human beings. We need to recruit more. We need, another factor, not only recruiting, but we need to train and develop our, you see, the firefighting, the evolution of firefighting is dynamic. Things are changing.
Right.
So we also have to train and have workshops, and all these things is what? Money.
Right.
So these are some of the challenges. Let's look at the tenders. Tenders. You yourself, when I was in Kumasi, I used to watch you before I go to work.
Thank you.
You've been saying it all the time.
Yes.
The fire service need tenders. I know you just want to hear from me. You know fire service needs tenders. We need tenders. We need more. Because the fact of if you don't have a fire tender, you go and open a fire station, you will not be as effective as you would have been if you had a tender. Because the proximity of the place that is burning and a fire station is very integral when it comes to extinguishing fire.
That's right.
Take a place like Adenta, that somebody lives in Ebri, and the nearest fire station is either going to come from Mampong or Ebri, and there is a fire. There's going to be a challenge because how it will take the fire engine to commute from Adenta to go and climb this mountain before it will get to Ebri.
Right.
So we need to open more fire stations so that the services will be sent to the doorsteps of the people. Because that will reduce the traveling distance for us. In fact, you see, one thing about fire issues are that when we need water, we need water now, and in volumes. When you want a fireman, you don't want him. That is how come we are having quarrels in the public with the public. If they want you, even you, God forbid, if you are in trouble right now, it's about fire. You just want that at the blink of the eye,
the fireman is there.
The fireman is there to save your life. You see, so factors, like I said, one, accessibility is an issue.
Right.
But one sad thing that I didn't mention is that We are not on the
Sunrise
special
on
planning
3
committee.
FM, the
Oh.
best in the
We
morning.
are on the technical. You can check.
But why?
I don't know. Hey, Hughes, that one, I beg you, please. I don't know
okay.
that one. You see, we are on the technical committee, but we are not on the special planning committee. So I must make that point
Clear,
here.
right.
Here. So that also answers to the question when you were saying that
Everybody is there.
there. So I beg you, everybody is not there because we are at the technical level.
Right.
We are not at the special
Planning
planning level.
committee. Okay.
So that one too, I want you to
Okay.
put it on
Let's
record.
talk about your hydrants.
Let me
You
finish
talk
with
about
the engines.
Go ahead,
Now
please.
the engines, we need more engines.
Okay.
And we see the engines. We have different type of engines. We have water tenders. We have dual purpose tenders. We have multi-purpose tenders. These days, what we
Sunrise
need
on 3
are
FM,
multi-purpose
the best in the
tenders.
morning.
Why?
Because they contain more than one extinguishing medium.
Okay.
And because we have different classes of fire, you need different extinguishing media to
Medium.
be able to
Okay.
take care of that. So if you get maybe a tender that will have some compartment of dry chemical powder, you get to a place and the light is not gone off and the fire is going on, you will not be afraid because you can discharge the powder to take care of the fire.
Right.
Because at that time, if you discharge the water,
You'll be
you'll
electrocuted.
be electrocuted. Then you have to then rely on electricity to off the power before. So to be waiting, you wouldn't wait.
Right.
Because you have the component that you can tackle it.
That's
with.
right.
But if you go with a dual purpose tender, which is either foam or water, and you get there and there is power, what you need to do then is to hold on
And call
until
ECG.
good. And the public will not understand why you are. I mean, somebody died in the Berlin Bridge in Nima recently. I don't know whether you heard it.
I heard it. I heard
Because
it.
the fireman was fighting the fire. He got a shock. He fell. He dropped the hose, and the person thought that he was joking.
Oh.
And he came, picked it, and he's now a goner. You see how the whole thing is.
Right.
So issues of we need modern tenders, not, and then we also need tankers that can augment firefighting, so that when firefighting is going on, there should be tankers that can
Sunrise
come
on
in
3
to
FM,
augment
the best
Right.
in the
water
morning.
supply.
More like backup.
Backup,
you know.
yes, that should come as a backup.
Right.
So these are some of the things. Then we have to look at the whole country. We have 2 hydraulic platforms.
Okay.
We need more of such.
The whole country.
Yes, we need 2.
Only
hydraulic
2?
2, but we have TLs. There is a difference between a TL and a hydraulic platform. The hydraulic platform goes higher than the turntable.
But with
ladder.
all the high-rise
High-rise
buildings that you are
buildings.
finding around,
So that is also another thing. That is what is calling for the aircrafts and then the drones that some of us are now advocating for.
but at your training schools, you train your men and your women on how to rappel and all of that, and then you don't have what it takes to go up there.
You need to prepare. You don't have to.
Yeah,
wait.
but you have trained them. So what do they use that training for? If they are not providing
But we
them the
still go
thing.
to the height anyway. We still go to heights with the tier. We still go to height with the hydraulic platforms and so on and so forth. So that is one aspect. Apart from that, we also need RIVs.
Okay, which is what?
RIV are rapid intervention vehicles.
Okay.
So these
Sunrise
RIVs
on 3 FM,
are
the best in the
very
morning.
smart. They can maneuver in traffic
Okay.
to take care of car fires. Maybe
Okay.
you are just at the middle of the road,
Right.
and your car catches fire. Now you are dispatching a tender with 20,000, 13,000.
no.
Its maneuverability becomes what?
The problem.
So if we really want to do effective firefighting, what we need to do, we have one or few of them in the system, but we need rapid intervention vehicles, especially in the city
Right.
centers.
Right.
Then there are also motorbikes that can also take care of these car fires. That one is one fireman who can use the motorbike and within a twinkle will be there to extinguish. So these are some of the logistics. Apart from that, we also need these rescue tools.
Sunrise on
Because when you
3
get
FM,
the rescue,
best in
the
morning.
Act 537, 1997, the law that re-establishes fire service.
Right.
To be precise, Section 2(4)(b) is very clear. Fire service also has the mandate to do rescue operations.
That's right.
And this rescue in confined places, like in basement, somebody is sinking a well and remains there. It's our responsibility to bring the person out.
Right.
Somebody goes to the height and he can't come down. It's our responsibility to bring the person down. I know somebody in Kumasi who committed suicide, who went to the top and held 2 pylons. He remained there. They relied on fire service. I was in charge of that operation.
Okay.
They relied on fire service to go bring the person down. So we do rescue. Then apart from that, this kind of rescue, we also do road traffic extrication rescue.
Okay.
With that one, our role in that one is to ensure that the car is cut and the casualty is brought and handed over to what? The ambulance service. So all these tools that we use for cutting, i.e. the ram, what I mean, the ram is what you use to push the dashboard.
Okay.
If the car mangles and the driver cannot come out, we use the ram. We have cutters to push it back. We have cutters. We have combi tools. We have soft protections, glass breakers. All these tools are tools that fire service needs to be able to execute our tasks.
I saw the other time that your men were also fighting bees somewhere in somebody's house.
Bees disperser. Bees disperser. In fact, when I was in Kumasi, I even called him when I came here. I spoke to Dr. Zaika, who is in charge of the zoo in Kumasi. So that we are training to be able to handle bees. Now what we do is using foam. And when you use foam kills some of these the bees. And I know environmentally they also have a role they play. But in the meantime, since
you don't have
that is what
the requisite thing
that
to
is what
use.
we have to go by. You see. So these are some of the things. Then we come into hydrants.
Do you see your
hydrants.
own hydrants, sir?
That is where the challenges are. You see.
Your own hydrants. Do you see them? The
Some
last
of
time I
them-
saw somebody
some of them are
cracking,
buried.
they are cracking somebody's tiles to trace the hydrants.
Some of them are buried in concrete. People have put houses. And at 5 to LI 1724, the law fire precaution premises regulations 2003
Sunrise on
is very
3FM,
clear
the
that
best in the
if even
morning.
a place like TV3, you should have a dedicated functioning hydrant.
Oh, we have one. We have
I'm
about
just
3.
giving an example here.
No, we have about 3.
I know.
Just for the public record.
No, but I also have to say this.
It's okay. But I'm saying ours that we have like 3. There's one there under there.
So what
There's
we
one
need
here.
to do one day, I will invite my men for us to test this your hydrant and see whether indeed it's functioning.
Right.
Whether there are challenges with it.
Right.
Getting a hydrant is one thing. And making it function is also another.
How does it function?
The functioning of the hydrant is placed on a water mains.
Okay.
So if Ghana Water Company doesn't have water flowing through the taps, it means that you can open the hydrant but you will not get water.
Hey.
That's what it is. Because they are placed on water mains. So that is how come these days I advise that do not rely on the hydrant that is hooked on Ghana Water Company mains. Get a dedicated mechanized borehole and make it in such a way that the fire service can access water in time of danger. And you are safe because your water will not be dependent on.
But there are also people who turn the hydrants into their personal, places and sources of water. You go into some of the communities and they've taken the iron, covering off and they are fetching the water.
They are fetching the water. You see, so these are
Ghana
some
Water
of the-
Company doesn't like that.
Yes, even yesterday, this week, was it last week? I had to send a
3FM, the
picture,
best in
an
the
image
morning.
to one of the managers of Ghana Water Company to go to Zongo Junction, Kaneshi, to go and check a hydrant that was leaking. So a good Samaritan saw it, videoed it, sent it to me. Then we are in touch. So
That's
I quickly
right, that's
called
right.
the manager and
Stanley.
Mustafa, and then I called Mustafa.
Mustafa, right.
Then I sent it to him, and then later he told me, it has been taken care of.
Right.
So these are some of the challenges. But I will keep talking about collaboration. You see, firefighting, if you want to leave it to fire service alone, we'll have challenges. But what we use mostly is water. Who provides water?
Ghana Water Company Limited.
When there is power, we need to take away the power. Who are supposed to take away the
That's
power?
ECG's job.
When there's congestion, we are unable to access the place. Whose responsibility is it to plan the city well?
LUSPA, the assemblies.
You see, the way, the nature. But the end user is the fireman. And unfortunately, the way we discharge our duties is done in the open for everybody to what? See.
How do you feel when your men get to the ground? Mr. Sarah, I'll come to you in a bit.
Okay.
How do you feel when you get onto the ground and everybody wants to dictate to you how you should do your work?
No, I mean, as a professional, these are occupational hazards. These are occupational
Sunrise
hazards
on
because
3FM,
the person, that's what I
the
said.
best
Somebody,
in the
a
morning.
fireman dropped a hose and you came and picked it. And you are now in the grave. So, professional firefighting, when we get there and there are challenges, we call on the police to come and cordon off what? The area. So, in incident command management, cordon off the area, the outer cordons are being managed by what? The police. Then the inner cordons are where our tools and other things are. So that is what we do.
I
We
see.
feel bad when people come and they want to challenge us, they want to take the hose. But like I said, it is your responsibility as an investor by LI 1724 to have water right there. So we don't have to move if we don't have water. The law says when we get there, as soon as you connect from the pump to the fire scene, you need to also connect from the hydrant to the pump. So much as you are discharging from the pump to the fire scene, you should be replenishing from the hydrant to the pump.
That's right.
And you failed to provide what? A hydrant.
Water in the hydrant.
And when the water of 13,500, 20,000 liters is exhausted and we are going for replenishing, you don't understand. I hope you are getting the
I get it.
That is what it is. Because the law is even the drills that we teach them at the training school. Number 2 is supposed
Sunrise
to take
on
a hose
3FM,
and a standpipe
the
key
best
and
in
bar,
the morning.
go put it at the hydrant, fix it, connect it to the pump before coming to stand at the pump and start operating. It is assumed that anywhere you go,
You
what the
find
book
the
teaches,
hydrant.
there, you connect from the hydrant to the pump.
So while
then
you
from pump
while
to
you
the fire
while
scene,
you offload what is in the tank, the hydrant is
it's
filling.
replenishing.
Right.
So then you don't even need to call for pump 2, pump 3. You go to a fire scene, so many fire engines. It's all because there is no water, and we need constant flow of water to fight the fire. And for that matter, we are calling for more pumps to come and augment. The more pumps are only apart from maybe checking the spread and other things. One major reason for calling for more pumps is for water supply.
See, this is an eye opener. Mr. Sari, I come to you now and then ask. We see your men, and we see them working. But are they enough? Are there enough of you to solve our problems if we find ourselves in trouble?
Thank you, Johnny. What I would say is, as a service, as I rightly indicated, when you look at the Ambulance Service Act 2020, Act 1041, our mandate is to take care of all pre-hospital emergencies that happen. So any emergency that has been outside the jurisdiction of the hospital, being road traffic in the maternal emergencies, mass casualty incidents, is the duty of the National Ambulance Service to take these casualties and manage them in the ambulance and send them to hospital for further management. So it means we have a very laborious task when it comes to making sure that we save lives as more as possible. So we need more personnel.
Right.
So we need more financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance so that we can recruit more EMTs, that's the emergency medical technicians, to work in all the corners of Ghana. For example, when you go to other jurisdictions like the US or UK or Canada, they have what they call community paramedics.
Right.
Where those people, they work in the community. So they have been assigned to a certain community. So anytime there's an emergency, those people in that community, they will take care of all those people before even other support will come from other jurisdictions. So we will definitely need more recruitment so that we can be able to save more life as possible.
Do you still take money from people who are in trouble to say, give us fuel before we take your patients?
Okay, so what I want to say is the ambulance service operate 2 services. We have the emergency services and non-emergency services. So when it comes to emergency services like road traffic accident, maternal, somebody in labor, pediatric cases, those ones the government of Ghana provides ambulance service with fuel to take care of all those emergencies. But when it comes to other emergencies, like you are going for medical investigations, sometimes the ambulance will go and be parked for about 5 hours. Those ones, we have some charges that we give
No,
to
I'm
support.
talking about the ones that the ambulance driver doesn't want to move. He says,
No, that is
we're
what I'm
charging
saying.
you money.
No, that is what I'm saying. That for emergencies, as rightly indicated, only we are supposed to take those casualties or those patients to the hospital.
Do you take those casualties for free?
Yes, that's what I just want to clear.
Because you activate the phone lines down. People will say a
that
different
is what, for example,
thing.
when you are moving from one jurisdiction, let's say you are in Takrady or Cape Coast, you are being referred to come to Kolebu.
Right.
Definitely looking at the distance that you are going to travel, the fuel that is being given to cannot take care of all those things. So definitely you need to pay a certain amount to support whatever the government, because if you are able to use all those fuel for those kind of emergencies like road traffic, definitely we need to support the fuel. So that's why we ask you to pay certain. But in cases where the relatives say they don't even have money, to definitely we need to take those casualties to the various, because sometimes we even move people from Accra here, sometimes Kolebu, somebody have come to the hospital and it has been discharged, is going back to either the Volta region or wherever, and the person doesn't have money. The service have a strategic stock where we have to go into those strategic stocks so that we can forward the ambulance and send those.
The conversation is that it's on paper that the government is supposed to fund these emergency liftings. But do you get the fuel supply to be able to do that? And I need you to be very candid, because the duty bearers, they listen to us, so that we can.
Currently, the government is providing us fuel through GOR for emergencies.
Right.
You understand? So the government is giving us that kind of support. Definitely, definitely looking at the call volumes and the number of emergencies that happens, we carry a lot of people. So definitely we need more of that. But currently the government is giving those things. But what I want to say is sometimes there's certain misconceptions.
Right.
For example, in Accra here, you go to certain private hospitals where a patient is being referred to, let's say Kolebu or 37,
right,
and on the bill of the patient they've written an ambulance. You understand? And they will sometimes call the national ambulance, we will come and pick sometimes this patient and send to the hospital for free. But in the minds of the patient, he or she has paid for the services of the ambulance.
The hospitals indicate on the thing, and they charge them for it.
That they've taken an is for ambulance.
Right.
But once the ambulance comes and picks, sometimes we pick it for free.
Right.
Because the patients cannot differentiate between a national ambulance service and a private, because the private ambulances also operate. Our ambulances are painted red, gold, green with a GV plate. Either the Mercedes Benz ambulance or the Toyota. So sometimes some people raise allegations against us that we have taken money from them. But when we do an investigation, it's not the government ambulance, but the private sector. In some cases, we get to the hospital, they will ask us to do a folder for the patient. When it happens like that, road traffic accident casualty, the person doesn't have money on him. So what we normally do is, the crew sometimes use their own monies to do a folder. Because without a folder, they cannot start treatment. So these are issues that have to be taken by the social welfare, so that when it comes to such issues, they will be able to assist us in that regard.
That's right.
Yeah, but on the issue of what we need as a service.
You have mentioned, you said you need pickups, you need more ambulances.
Yes.
What else do you need? Salary increment?
Yeah, definitely. But we definitely ask for more allowances for our business. Then also we need more offices to operate. Because the staff has to be in a very safe environment to work. The Labour Act, we have to work in a very conducive environment. So we need more housing for our personnel, and also with the ambulances too. Either we need the basic life support ambulance, or advanced life support ambulances that is fit with defibrillators, with advanced airway like endotracheal intubation gadgets, so that we'll be able to take care of casualties who have airway problems. So that's what we need from the government in terms of
Chief Lisa, let me come to you. Some of your staff, when we advertised that we're coming here, say our rent allowance has not been paid. Our old rent allowance, if we don't have proper places to lay our heads, we don't have peace of mind, how do we help the people? They were asking me, they say you are not alone. Prisons, same, I think police, and then immigration, they are all complaining about their rent allowance. I don't know how true that is. Is it true?
I know rent allowance.
Sunrise on 3
Normally,
FM.
we've been
The
giving the
best
rent
in the
allowance.
morning.
It's been coming. And the way it is done, sometimes it's quarterly, then it will come. Quarterly, then it will come. But to be honest with you, these are issues for the finance department to handle. I will not sit here and claim that I have much knowledge. So maybe after here, I'll
you
call
can find
the officer
out.
who is scheduled officer, and I'll take your contacts and let you know. And in your programs, you let the men know.
Right.
But I think there is goodwill. The goodwill is there. This government, ever since I think they've released, I've heard that it has been released one or two. So they should exercise patience.
Sunrise on 3 FM.
And
The
then the
best in
current
the
chief officer
morning.
is a mother.
Right.
And mothers are more caring. I'm sorry, but at least we are men. But that's
you are
a fact.
choking yourself.
I'm choking myself. So they are so caring, So Madam, the chief officer, Daniela Mausis Intosapon, is a very nice person. From here, I'll get in touch and they'll press the right button if that is the situation.
Right.
I'm sure I can assure them that I'll call Madam and tell her. That one day I can assure you.
Okay.
I'll call you.
I'm grateful. Let's wrap up this conversation. Mr. Sari, I'll start with you.
Okay.
We have had this conversation, but for the ordinary Ghanaian who is listening to us, the rains are coming. The roads will be slippery. We pray accidents don't happen, but they do happen. People will find themselves in a very uncomfortable situation or situations that would need your help.
Definitely.
What assurance do they have coming from your quarters that, yes, in times of trouble, they will come to me and they will sort me out?
Okay. What I would say is with the National Ambulance Service, as I said, we have our emergency dispatch center where our call number is 112, that all calls are routed and we interrogate the call and we dispatch the nearest ambulance to the place because sometimes we have challenges of traffic congestion because per the international standard an ambulance should get to the place within 8 to 10 minutes, but because of traffic and other
Sunrise
factors,
on
we
3
just
FM,
not paving
the
way to
best in
Sarin
the
and other
morning.
things. So ambulance in Accra, we are doing on average about 15 minutes, depending on, but we want to improve on our. So what I will advise is when anytime the ambulances are blaring with siren, they should pave way for the ambulances to come to the right destination. And also, the MTTD is doing their work. When anytime the ambulance car at the intersection, they should be able to direct the flow of traffic so that we can move to the destination safely. From the side of the ambulance, we are doing a lot of public sensitization.
Right.
We go to the radio stations as we are here today. We train institutions on basic first aid and even give them certification because before an ambulance comes, sometimes you have to know certain basic somebody sudden collapse,
CPR
how to do
and all of
cardiopulmonary
that.
resuscitation, how to put a small dressing to control bleeding. So sometimes when somebody have an accident, it's not how fast you move the person to the hospital, it's the interventions that you give to the person immediately.
Is it some of the people are afraid of blood?
I don't
It's
think
not
so.
true.
Because they have been trained through that.
They were trained with blood. So when they see blood, they don't fear
blood. We see a lot of emergencies that involves a lot of blood.
So it is never true that your people are afraid.
We are not afraid. We are ever ready. So we have to continue our sensitization so that we train the public more on basic first aid, because when an emergency happens, before the ambulance comes, what accident happens, people go and be pulling people from the debris, rather compounding their problem, because maybe the person is trapped and when you do that you can have a lot of spinal injuries. So they should sometimes collaborate with us. They should call us. When we come, we'll be able to help them to remove the people from the debris. So they should have rest assurance that they should call the ambulance when somebody is sick or injured, but not when somebody is dead before they call the ambulance, because the ambulance is not a hearse. So they will call you, there's a body, come and pick. No, we carry those who are sick.
People call you to come and pick their bodies?
Sometimes we are in the dispatch center, they will call, I have somebody here, can you people come and pick? No, our vehicles are used to carry the sick and the injured because
You know where they're getting that misconception from?
Yeah.
If you go to Kolebu now,
definitely
you see the hearses that are parked there.
parked over
They are
there.
for dead bodies, but some
Definitely.
have written ambulance on it.
Ambulance,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So-
we confuse.
Yeah, so
them.
the- because when
Every
we-
toothpaste is Pepsodent in Ghana. Every newspaper is graphic.
So when we use the ambulance to carry the dead, even during the COVID time, and when there were special ambulance that were used to carry
Sunrise on
COVID
3
because
FM.
we don't want the
Best
public to
in the
lose
morning.
confidence
Right.
in the ambulance. So they should always call us. We are there to serve Ghana. Anytime they have challenges too, they should definitely let us know so that we can improve on our system. Then I also want to make an appeal to the Ministry of Education and the GS so that the basic first aid should be something that should be enhanced at the basic schools.
That's right.
Like what happened in O'Reilly Secondary School. Somebody was
So
stabbed.
with the Caesars.
Yeah, definitely. If the students were able to have some basic knowledge to even put pressure there so
Right.
that air will not enter the lungs to collapse the lungs. So all this has to be from the basic level to the secondaries to the university level so that anybody that will go through the system of education in Ghana will have some basic knowledge because in other jurisdictions it's definitely done. And lastly, what I would say is on prank calls.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, in
Sunrise
Accra
on
here,
3
we can,
FM, the
and
best
even in
in
the
the
sense when you look
morning.
at the statistics, in a month, we can get about 5,000 prank calls.
5,000.
Yes, in a month.
Do you trace them to prosecute them?
When
to
it
serve
comes
as
to
a deterrent?
prosecution, and it's the Ghana Police Service.
Yeah, but
that
do you
is-
trace them to report them
we sometimes
follow
give
through for
those
them to be
information
prosecuted?
we have those numbers. We forward them to the Ghana Police Service. So we just also want to make a passionate appeal to the public that they shouldn't call the system to prank it because it can lead to congestion.
Right.
When people are calling, especially when students are on vacation, they normally call it because it's a toll-free line.
Right.
When you call, there's no charges. So
Okay.
we make passionate appeal to that. And I know our CEO, Professor Zakaria, is doing a lot in terms of making sure that more
Sunrise
training
on
is done
3
for the
FM,
personnel
the best
and
in the
only our
morning.
paramedics and emergency care training school we have in West Africa. We need more upgrading at that place.
Okay.
And he's doing well to
I
make
hear
sure
you.
that the service
Thank
goes
you.
very well.
Chief,
Thank you.
you have the closing thought here.
Okay.
What do you leave us with, sir?
Okay, so the mandate of the Ghana National Fire Service per Act 537
Sunrise on 3
1997, the
FM,
law that
the best in the
re-establishes the Ghana
morning.
National Fire Service, our mandate is to save lives and property. I want to assure the people of Ghana, particularly Greater Accra region, that they are in safe hands, they can sleep and sleep soundly. We are a service that whilst others are running away from their homes, we are invited to come into their homes. It is because they think we can save them. They should still continue to have that confidence in us. In fact, I can tell so many success stories. Number one, there was a gas leakage at Anya. From here, I'll pick your number and send some of these videos to you to see.
Right.
We successfully managed this gas leakage, took the tanker away, and there was no explosion. Nobody heard it. Because it was a success story, nobody heard it. On the 23rd of December last year, a gas tanker was on its way to Adenta, got to SDA there, and the engine caught fire. We managed it, nobody heard it. Kulibu Cardio Center was on fire on the 7th of February this year. We managed it successfully, nobody has heard it. Tiptoe Lane fire was a success story. I can go on and on and on and mention success stories of the Ghana National Fire Service, particularly the Greater Accra region.
Right.
And for that reason, they should have
Sunrise
confidence
on 3
in us.
FM, the best
If
in
there
the
is
morning.
any fire outbreak, the Fire Master Control, you can reach the Fire Master Control by 192 or 030 277 2446. 030 277 2446.
Right.
They should call us early because there are stages in fire development. The moment the fire develops and gets into the matured stage, we may be able to extinguish the fire. By your properties that had gone already, we can't bring that back.
Okay.
I also want to touch on the prank calls. It's a very bad thing. We are Christians and Muslims in this country.
Sunrise on 3 FM,
What you should
the
know
best
is
in
that the
the
moment you
morning.
hijack the emergency line and you don't want anybody to get in only to call and be making fun of the Ghana National Fire Service. If we are not rich and anybody dies, you contributed to the death of that person. That is what it is. So, on this note, I would like to encourage my men that we should continue to sacrifice because our job is about saving lives and what? Property. So all is not about getting my pound of flesh. It's also about what? Sacrifice that will continue to do so. And now that some of you are in touch with some of you, I'm sure the resetting agenda will be possible in the name of Allah. Thank you very much.
Chief, look at this video. So this is a fire, a fuel tanker is leaking, and people are salvaging siphoning the fuel.
Yes.
With what that they saying and pants and things. Let's listen a bit.
Yes, some crazy for now. I am not be amfa. A Johnny idea, my ben how. Can you know? Nina, you corner. Nina, na bibiani one but me idea, Sino. Bibiani, never be a man on fire on the fancy talk. Yes, Ramo. Kafra. So Nina, never go more. Yes, some crazy for now. I am not be amfa.
So this is a fuel tanker.
Yes.
It's leaking. Yes. People are siphoning the fuel with pans and buckets and what have you. And somebody is warning that nobody should bring a naked fire around the place. What do you have to say about this, sir?
You see, this particular issue is a very big problem in this country. I have seen it severally. Personally, I have been there. So I've seen these things happen on your way from Accra to Kumasi.
Right.
When a tanker should fall, I give you the next 10 minutes to 30 minutes, the tanker will be empty.
But what are they going to use the fuel for?
They use it into
contaminated fuel.
They put it in their cars, and sometimes they go and those people who sell people who sell at the roadside, those unorthodox,
those who use those gao machines.
Those are the places that you send all those fuel. Sometimes you go, somebody has a filling station with one drum sitting there with a funnel, and then he's pumping. So these things are very dangerous situations. If we don't desist from this as a culture, I'm sorry, one day we will not wake up and hear good stories. But when we hear things like this, what we do, we go and use foam to blanket it and dilute it.
Okay.
Then call the police to cordon off the area to prevent people from taking fuel. I think I also send you more videos to see. I have some similar ones.
But this is
that they are aside from here, they are not even, the people are not many. Even it happened in Liberia last year. I don't know whether you've seen that.
Yes, I've seen that video.
That was in Liberia. They were siphoning. What happened at Circle in firefighting, we call it flashback.
Okay.
We call it flashback. That is when the tanker is moving and the fuel is dropping on the way going. I can assure you, wherever the tanker will reach and picks fire, that fire is going to trace
its way back
to the source, and there will be an explosion.
Gee.
That is what is happening. So what they are doing now, the person who is likely to even ignite this fire may not even be 100 meters close to this fire.
Because this is sipping all the way down.
So wherever it is going to pick a naked light, is coming back here, and all that you hear is an explosion. Boom. That is what we call flashback. So in Circle that day, what happened was that the fuel was floating, got to Odor River down there, picked ignition from there, and came and exploded at the station there because the water had mixed with the fuel because they didn't lock the tank well, and the fuel was the gushing out and mixed with water. So similar things can happen. It happened in London. A fire outbreak happened in London, and it was a similar thing. In fire science, we call this flashback. So they should be careful. Things of this nature, the whole township can be raised down. That's a fact.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm grateful that you could join me this morning in studio. We've been blessed to have had Principal Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist Daniel Asari is the Regional Manager, National Ambulance Service for the Greater Accra Region. Also, Assistant Chief Fire Officer, Grade 2, Rashid Nesau is the Greater Accra Regional Commander of the Ghana National Fire Service. We're grateful that you could join us this morning, and thank you so much indeed.
I hope this is not going to be the last time.
No. As for me,
this is a fruitful, a very interesting discussion.
Oh, you know me. I try my best. I try my best to do my best.
We thank you for the
I try my best to do my best.
Yes.